Sex and affection, a two-way street. 1 Corinthians 7:3. The husband should fulfill his marital duty to his wife, and likewise the wife to her husband. Feeling that his sexual appetites are waning, the husband asks his doctor if something might be wrong. The doc says, walk 5 miles a day for the next 3 weeks and call me and tell me how you're doing. 3 weeks later, the husband calls and the doc asks, so how is the sex? The husband replies, how am I supposed to know? I haven't seen my wife in 3 weeks and I'm 105 miles from home. So how is the sex? If there was ever an issue that can quickly become a love and respect issue, it is this. Fortunately, Paul leaves some good advice to help couples keep sex in a positive perspective, providing they are willing to work together to benefit one another. He says, the husband should fulfill his marital duty to his wife, and likewise the wife to her husband. That's what it says in the New International Version, and almost the same wording is in the New American Standard Bible. At first glance, it sounds as though Paul thinks sex is an obligation to be done begrudgingly if necessary. And true enough, the Greek word for duty means we are to give the other person what is due, as if we have a debt to pay. There is, however, another way to translate this Greek word that throws light on the problem. Husband and wife should be fair with each other about having sex. And in the Phillips translation, we read, the husband should give to his wife what is due her as his wife, and the wife should be as fair to her husband. When fair play precedes foreplay, husband and wife are tuned in on satisfying each other sexually and affectionately. Let the husband render to his wife the affection due her, and likewise also the wife to her husband. Each is focusing on giving, not receiving, and that makes sex an entirely different ballgame from the one too many couples play, which often leads to making it an issue that obscures the real issue, feeling unloved or disrespected. Over the years, I have received literally thousands of emails from spouses who struggle with the issue of being fair with each other about sex. Typically, the husband's primary need is for sexual release, which only his wife can meet, and the wife's primary need is for affection and a feeling of emotional connectedness. There are exceptions to these general leanings. For example, I get emails from a substantial number of women who say they are the ones who need sex more often. Not surprisingly, if one spouse's need is not met, he or she will not be inclined to want to focus on the need of the other. And so it seems to be a standoff. The wife can say, lovingly, meet my needs for affection and connection, and I'll respond sexually. The husband can answer, respectfully meet my sexual need, since you alone can meet that need, and I'll respond to your emotional needs. This is the kind of quid pro quo dance many couples do, but is not what Paul means in 1 Corinthians 7 when he talks about being fair to one another. Obviously, Paul is not saying one spouse can mandate sex for affection, or that the other can mandate affection for sex. Sex and affection are the best proving grounds to help you and your spouse grow in love and respect for each other, physically, emotionally, and intimately. Look at the sexual aspect of your relationship as a complement to how important you are in your spouse's life. You are the only person who can meet this need in your spouse. Chapter 31 will have more to say about the sex-affection issue and how it relates to mutual submission. For now, however, focus on the fact that the two of you have legitimate pink and blue needs that must be met fairly, lovingly, respectfully. Neither is wrong, just different. If one partner is not being as responsive as the other might like, Christ is calling someone to make the first move. Maybe he's calling both of you. As two mature people, can you talk it through and work it out? There is no need to go 3 weeks without sex or affection and wind up 105 miles from home. Thank God that both have needs only the other can meet. Pray for the wisdom to meet those needs fairly with mutual concern for one another. Having devotions about sex can draw you closer or possibly start up the crazy cycle. Share honestly with each other about your needs on this two-way street. Talk together or possibly write each other notes about your needs as lovingly and respectfully as you can. If sex continues to be a serious issue, consider seeking a skilled Christian counselor.